I was in conversation with my brother today, and I was giving him the rundown of how I understood this war to be going and what I thought this war to be. And as we were having this discussion about Iran, we began to talk about this professor named Professor Young. Professor Young is a YouTube professor. I mean, yes, he is a real professor. He's actually based in Beijing, but he came to prominence on YouTube, where he gained a large following of loyal subscribers who began to understand the world and, as the war was happening, the war through his lens, right? And I began to realize, like, oh, a lot of the ideas that I have stem from his belief in his thought process and how he has explained the world to me. And I remember a couple of days back, I was just curious on where did this guy come from? Because he is Chinese, and majority of the conversations that he's having is a breakdown of the American political infrastructure and ecosystem. And so it made me just think, well, if I go and I look him up, what do I find? I find information about his past, and it seems as though he got in trouble with the Chinese government about what it was that he was saying. And it made me just realize we don't know what is the reason behind the information that we gain. You know, what was the thought process below the thought process? Yes, we're getting this information, which could be valuable for our life and the way that we understand the world, but it could be actually a strategy to attack, let's say in this situation, China attacking the American soul of the youth. And I say this because a large following of his are young American men, right? And he's telling almost a prophetic form of what's happening in Iran, where it is Iran is going to go to war with America because it's prophetic, and America's going to lose because it's prophetic, and it's aligning with the Epstein situation. It's aligning with the way that the AI is unrolling itself, and ultimately biblical and Quranic scripture. It's prophetic. You're going to lose, right? And saying that causes the spirit of the man to feel as though, well, then what for? And if you get to the point that you begin to question what for, well, then you don't have enough to put yourself forward. You know, there was a war where I believe Alexander the Great, I'm going to say Alexander the Great, it might have been another Roman Empire, but they were on boats and they were going to fight. And he said, burn the boats behind us because I want to take off the table the idea of retreat. There is no thought of what if this doesn't work, because if it doesn't work, you die. So you might as well go with the amount of fortitude that you know this is going to be a successful encounter. American men don't have that. Burnt ships behind us. We have confusion in the forest that's in front of us. And so it's difficult to move with the sense of certainty if you have confusion about your next step. I say this because we have to remember social media is a form of propaganda. Shout out to Edward Bernays, Noam Chomsky. Social media is one of the greatest forms of propaganda because it can curate itself specifically to what it is that you need to accept. It's called manufacturing consent. Beat you down with the thought process enough that when some new information comes in, you accept it because you've already learned to be in alignment with whatever that information is. You got to be on your P's and Q's in this infrastructure because it's created to confuse you, to give you all these different forms of alternative realities so that you don't even know which one you're on. You're better off flipping a coin and seeing if it's heads or tails, and that's the decision making that you're going to make, because otherwise you will be paralyzed by options. So this is the Hunter Tale podcast, likely one of the best forms of understanding the world that you can possibly tap into, simply because I am also on this journey with you. I'm learning as I go, but I read in a book, and it's interesting that I read it in a book, but the saying is, the writing technique has allowed for men to become wise without any wisdom. So that's why I go out and I attempt to learn on the move, because I'm learning as I go, bringing the information home, allowing for myself to digest it and working it through with you all. This is the Hunter Tale Podcast.